Well, I was headed back and something was weird. And then I noticed this. Frame broke. Now I'm missing a control arm. Hey YouTube, Josh here. And I am now investigating the damage that was done to the buggy after the last run. If you remember, I tore the bottom control arm off. Frame broke. So now I'm missing a control arm. And so now I'm diving in to see what happened. It looks like some of the chassis tube actually was torn off. So we're trying to figure out how to fix it. I need to cut here to remove all this stuff and put a new bar across, but I have a feeling it's not going to be as simple as that. Let's go ahead and cut. So I really like these Diablo blades from Home Depot, or is it Lowe's? One of those two. They work pretty well and they're not crazy expensive. So it's my weapon of choice. Let's investigate what's going on here. This is the skid plate I made. Here's where the control arm was attached. And it literally tore off, sheared off. And it looks like this was already shearing off. And the skid plate is already on its last leg, or at least a support for it. And then let's turn around the other control arm that wasn't off yet. Notice I said yet. Well, you can't tell because that's where I cut it, but it's basically was getting ready to tear off also. So but look, there's a giant hole in the tube. So how am I going to make a tube across with this giant hole? Do I patch it? Do I replace this whole tube, which would be a crazy amount of work? Can I maybe sleeve the outside? Maybe buy some tube that's a little bigger and then just kind of put it on the outside and weld it like a patch? I'm not sure yet, but we'll have to figure that out. That's not good. I'm not happy about this at all. Kind of ticked off. So here's the patch I made. Should match the hole perfectly because this is actually what ripped out. So the idea is to put this on the tube, weld around it, and hopefully this will be enough for me to put my other tube over it. It's kind of hard to explain without showing you. So try to get some light in here. This is what I ended up doing, is making that patch, and then I did some thick tack welds all the way around so that basically it's a patch. So what I'll do is I'll kind of grind those down a little bit. I don't know, I may not even need to. I think more is better. So check that out. And this other side, I'll have to grind down the extra tube that's there, and then I can try to weld it. My light's not cooperating. Alright, I just got back from picking up this 3-foot piece of tube. Same diameter as this one, but let's do comparison. here's the tube that broke. Here's the new tube. Look at this red area. It's probably 3 times, almost 3 times as thick. This is what should have been used in the first place. I don't know why they went this route, I guess to cut costs. I wish they had just charged me a little more and gone with this. But it is what it is. So I feel a lot better with this not breaking and just tearing like it did before. So this is 1 inch and 3/4 by 1/4 thick wall tube. Much stronger. Now to go ahead and notch this, which is not going to be fun because it is really thick. Alright, I am through, and I twisted the tube because now I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a flap disc and smooth it all off, because you'll see that when you go through it leaves kind of a square, these points, and really thin area here. I want to get rid of all that, so when I weld it, we're in the strong area of the tube. So I'm going to go ahead and grind that down a little bit. So here we have this nice fish mouth coping. Got a little bit of a gap over here, but we can fill that in. I did have to hammer it in, tap it in so it's nice and snug. The other side fits nice, comes across, and I'm gonna move it forward just a little bit because it always kind of hit this pan. See over here, this pan right here. So now it won't hit. So now I'm going to weld on the tabs. The other thing I'm going to do is put some kind of bracing, probably a gusset right here, from here to here. So that way that'll take some of that twisting pressure off this tube here that's not real thick. So I'm gonna do that also just for good measure. All right, it's gonna be a little hard to tell what's going on here, but this is the tube I just created, and this is the tube that broke off. You see it's cracked there. I had to cut it here, and it tore off over here. So in order to place my tabs, I'm just going to use this to line it up. So basically lining this up with this will give me the approximate, very, very close to where the tabs were, and I can mark it and weld it. So these are the old ones. This is the old pipe behind, and this is the new pipe that I'm trying to make. I'll be able to just copy where these are at and it would work. Tube mocked up. Here's the old tube. So it's broken. I basically put it together, measured the distance here, then rig this up, mock this up, put this arm that I had hanging off already, so I'll know how much space to get this to fit. The rod end to fit. It should fit pretty snug. And now I'm just gonna tack it in place. Do the other side, weld her up. So I got the new cross member in there. Like I said, I'm gonna have to fill in some of these gaps. That's okay. Gap there. It's kind of that one's probably the worst one. But I'll have to do that. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Fits snug. I have to like hammer it in. Tap it in, I should say. Pretty happy with it. These tabs are a lot thicker than the old one, and this bar is thicker, so My weak point is actually this part here, this tube. But I'm gonna go ahead and put some gussets, like I said. Today we're gonna build a skid plate. Hey Crawltopia, Josh here. And today we're going to be making a skid plate out of this rod. Steel tube that I picked up at the local steel place. So I have this bigger piece, I guess 1.5 inches, and it's probably 3/16 thick, which is pretty good. So yeah, 10-foot stick was $19.21, so not bad for that piece. This steel place is the cheapest I've found. These smaller sticks were $10 a piece, which is crazy. And that's for a 10-foot stick. So that's $1 a foot. That's amazing. Not as thick, but this is good for like welding carts, some bracing. I use this on my seats to hold my seats in and things like that. Plenty strong. This is going to be for the skid plate. To basically avoid my oil pan from getting hit and bashed worse than it is. Alright, so I used my Sawzall and was able to cut some pieces, 2 of these, 1 of these. So basically my oil pan will go here, and these, basically there'll be 2 of these, will get welded to the cross member. So I have the other leg, or the other piece over here, and this hole notcher, tube notcher, and I'm going to basically notch the tube so I can weld it on. Okay, so my notch is done. Nice notch there. Here's a piece of the broken pipe that's actually going to be the diameter that I'm going to be welding it to, and voila, perfect fit. So here's what I have laid out. This is the broken piece. So basically this goes like so. This will go on this crossbar, and my oil pan goes in here. And then I have, find it, this, I forgot what it's called, HDME, HDEP, something like that. It's basically a cutting board that goes on top, or on the bottom, but it will go like that. So this is the skid plate, slippery. Now one thing I noticed that could have attributed to this breaking originally is the fact that maybe the skid plate was getting hit and it was leveraging this and making it go back and forth. So that was a concern of mine. Now the tube I'm replacing it with is going to be 1/4 inch wall. This is only like 1/8 inch wall, so it's going to be way stronger, so it probably won't be as much of an issue. And unfortunately, where I'm putting this, there's no way to brace this that I can find, but I may have to try to figure something out, because it does get beat on pretty bad, and I don't want the same issue to happen again. I'd rather it break here at the weld than the tube, obviously. So let's go ahead and weld this up. I got it all welded up. This shape here, this goes on the tube like so. Because this is going to get hit a lot, I'm going to go ahead and put another piece and just do a few welds. That way, if the impact of the rock comes this way, it's a lot stronger, because it does get hit. So I think once I do that, I'll be done with this piece. Well, I gotta put the holes for all that, but so far so good. I'm liking how it's turning out. If you're wanting to build a buggy or build something like this, just to dive in, this whole setup cost me $10 to make, if that, because I still have a lot of leftover tube. So making stuff yourself definitely is more cost effective and fun. There was the 3 beers I had too. So, all right, so here's our finished skid plate. I went ahead and added some braces across so that this cutting board material can have some support if I'm sitting just like right in the middle. So I was able to drill some holes with the drill press and flip it. Here's the bottom part. These are the old holes from the old skid plate, so I'm not going to worry about that. Leave those. I did make some new ones there. And so this will get welded to the crossbar like this. So there we go. New skid plate. Should hold up. Hopefully. This one I went in a little too far. I might put a washer. This isn't. The rest of the tip where it's angled, I don't have the right size drill bit for these. I don't know what they're called, recessed, but it works good enough. I do have the skid plate here. Let's go ahead and just kind of see where it's at. The skid plate, this way, the skid plate, and it fits perfect except for this little part right here that extends this part of the bolt. So this is a 4.5 inch bolt. I think what I'll do is I'll get a 4-inch bolt. So this little drill press here has been an amazing tool. I think it was like $120 on sale or 150 bucks, but it has been well worth it. So it's not the most powerful drill press, it's definitely small, but I really enjoy using it because it makes drilling straight holes so much easier. It just literally just melts right through the metal, even with older drill bits. And it's not strong enough to break drill bits. I mean, it can, but highly unlikely. So if you don't have one of these, you need to get it in your tools, in your arsenal of tools, because it's just invaluable. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'll put the link below. All right, so what I ended up doing is I do want to gusset the chassis tube and the skid plate because there's going to be a lot of tension on that tube, as you know, that's how we ended up here in the first place. So I went ahead and took this 1/4 inch wall tubing and used the tube notcher to cut it, which took forever. But now I'll be able to create a couple of good gussets, which will substantially strengthen that cross member. And that way, if there's some tension, you know, like this way, rolling, this will help a lot. I'm pretty sure this tube won't tear, but better safe than sorry. So, got one down, make another one. So I was able to get the skid plate welded on the bottom. It looks like I'm gonna have to take off the floorboards to get to the top part. Sucks. I was able to get this control arm back on. The problem is when the other link broke, everything shifted this way. So it was like, whoop. And so this tire was way back and this tire is like way forward. So everything is like twisted up. So I'm trying to use some ratchet straps and this jack to pull that side off, or that side back, to put on the control arm. Here you can see I have this ratchet strap. Goes all the way to the knuckle, and it is under some tension there. Trying to get this rod end to line up, so I'm really close. So So now that I have the back jacked up, I should be able to pull this knuckle in a little bit more and then put the bolt in. Then she'll be sitting on her own feet for now. All right, so I had to make this little tiny gusset here and cut the bottom of it out. It's a really tight space where it's going, so it took a little bit of finessing to get it to fit just right. So it's gonna go in like this. But a little bit of work there and fits pretty good. So it's gonna weld this in. So this gusset is going to go right in here like that. So I have this, goes right there. Perfect fit. Happy with that. All right, so I started to put on the plastic and then I realized I need new bolts for the skid, but that's how it came out. This is all welded on, painted. I have gussets here. You see where that old tube was there. I mean, I didn't clean it up too much because I'm like, it's underneath, and hey, that extra steel adds strength. I like to do, and I think it's worth it, and it's not cheap, but is to use the Steal It paint. It doesn't take much, just 1 or 2 layers to get it nice and thick. It's like a spray on powder coat, but the best thing is that you can weld over it. So in those really tight spaces, it's nice to do this because then you don't have to clean it if you ever have to go back and weld over it. So at 40 bucks a can, it's definitely not cheap, but well worth it. And I strongly recommend this. So, control arms are back on, buggy's on its own weight. The only thing I think I might have left is adding these tabs in the front like they were. I might not even need them, but we'll see. I gotta do that, but that's another day. But all in all, I'm really happy. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Get out there, build some stuff in your garage. I'll see you next time.